probiotics are you already consuming in your food? Did you know that there are many different natural probiotics from all over the world? Watch until the end to see natural probiotic foods from 18 different regions all over the world. But wait a minute, what are probiotics and why do we need them? Our gut health depends on these little guys to stay in good shape. Within our gut, we have billions of bacteria. Some are good guys and some are the bad guys. Probiotics are the good guys that protect the fortress, which is our gut. When our gut is in good standing, generally our health is better off. There are dozens of strands with fancy names. But wait, before you get scared and turn off the video, we don't need to know how to pronounce them. It's much simpler than that. We know that most of these foods are available in foods we eat, but they also exist in foods we've never heard of. But wait a second, what makes a probiotic available in foods to begin with? It's the fermentation. The fermentation process is the growth of the bacteria in some of the food, and that's what makes probiotics. However, if you cook it, you lose the probiotics, and we're not talking about alcohol. You may already know the most famous one, pickled cucumbers. But did you know that the quick prepared ones have little to no probiotics in them? I'm talking about the ones that you buy with vinegar and lots of preservative. They're basically sour cucumbers. They haven't gone through the fermentation process. But what if I don't like pickles? That's fine. Stay tuned to see a variety of 20 different foods from all over the world that have probiotics, and I'm sure one of them will catch your attention. Now fasten your seatbelts and let's take you on a trip around the world to see what each region has to offer. This list is not exclusive and we only pick the famous ones, so don't get upset if you don't see your local dish. First up is the Mediterranean Middle Eastern region. They pickle almost anything. Pickling is adding salt and water with little sugar and a hint of vinegar and allowing it to ferment for a couple weeks with the lid on. From cucumbers to carrots, wild cucumbers, cucumber melons, garlic, and so on, they've managed to pickle it all. Not to mention my favorite, turnips. They are pickled with beets that give it its vibrant pink color. Speaking of beets, they're also used to color other pickles like cabbage, and they're delicious. And if you're not into pickles, there's something else for you. This region has yogurt and is full of healthy probiotics. There's an assortment of different types of yogurts, some of which are strained, some of which are just fermented. Some are packed with protein, others have a little less protein. At the end of the day, they're all filled with probiotics. This one's a rare one. It's called Subia drink, which is made from fermented barley and spices and filled with probiotics. It's famous in the Arabian region. However, watch out for the high sugar content in this drink. Our next stop takes us to the Far East, Japan. Kaiuri Suzuki? This is a Japanese specialty in which they pickle cucumber with carrot and other herbs and vegetables. And maybe the most famous one that you usually see at your local sushi store, pickled ginger. Fermented soybeans is used a lot in traditional Japanese dishes. And you know that clear soup that you get next to your sushi? Yeah, that one. That's miso soup. The miso is a fermented soybean that is mainly used in traditional soups. Some of these fermented Japanese favorites may contain traces of alcohol, so just keep that in the back of your mind. Now we're moving all the way to Germany and Europe. You guessed it, sauerkraut. Sauerkraut has made its way to other parts of the world. It's fermented cabbage and it's very famous next to barbecues and burgers. Going back to Asia, our next stop is Korea. Very few people know this wonderful pickle called kimchi, or fermented cabbage and radish, with a hint of heat to it too. Our next stop is up in China. Kombucha is a famous drink here. It's a fermented tea with yeast. You may want to watch for traces of alcohol in this one as well. Our next stop is the North Caucasian region, nowadays between Georgia and Russia. They ferment milk with some types of grain called kefir to make this sour drink that is similar to yogurt, filled with probiotics, and you can drink it next to meals. Who doesn't love a little bit of extra dairy in their diet? But now let's take a healthy twist to it. Continuing our journey down to the historical Mesopotamia area, currently known as Iraq. Cottage cheese was originally made by sour milk that was then fermented. Nowadays, we use the fresh milk. You can use this as a side dish, use it in desserts. It's delicious no matter how you eat it. Not too far off in the same region of Persia is kishik or jamid, which is a traditionally fermented wheat immersed in yogurt and sun-dried for days. It's filled with probiotics. You may want to watch for the salt content, as it is very salty. Next stop, Russia. Sour cream is famous all over South America and North America, but originally this fermented cream milk is from the Russian region. It has a high density similar to Greek yogurt. Its probiotic is rich, but also very high in fat content. It's known as smetana. Staying within the same region, we moved to the historic Turkic region. We couldn't find a closer pointer than the current Kazakhstan. They have traditional fermented mare or donkey milk. It is very similar to kefir and high in probiotics. The local name is kumis. Moving to the southern part of Africa. Amasi is a traditional fermented milk drink similar to cottage cheese but more liquid. It's one of the main sources of probiotic in their cuisine. It is common in their tradition that this drink makes men stronger. Hop on the plane and let's go back to Asia. A little closer to Indonesia and the Malaysian area. Akar is basically a pickled vegetable that's served next to meals. Tempeh is used in traditional cooking in Indonesia and is made of fermented, cooked soybeans. Moving a little west, but still within the same region, we have India. Who doesn't love pickled mangoes with Indian spices? You can almost eat the whole bottle. It is known as akar and it is spicy. The same region is believed to be the origin of buttermilk as well. It is the liquid left from straining butter. It's a fermented dairy drink, but don't confuse the bottles found in your local stores or pancake mixes. It has to be fermented to have the actual probiotics in it. Now let's hop on back to Europe, Italy specifically. These pickled veggies are usually put in oil or vinegar. You need to make sure they're fermented though. Who doesn't love a little mozzarella in their diet? Sure, it's fermented and has probiotics, but just keep in mind, it's not as concentrated as you may think. Now we're moving all the way to the Netherlands in Europe. Gouda cheese is aged and fermented and is very famous. Next stop, England. We have by far the most popular aged cheese in the world, cheddar cheese. You need to make sure it's the real stuff and not the processed cheese to maintain the probiotics in it. Skipping off to Ireland now. Of course, who doesn't love some ginger ale? And we're not talking about the synthetic ones they sell in cans. The actual ginger ale is packed with probiotics. Our next stop is the northern parts of Africa, closer to Morocco. Pickled lemon, or as they call it, alhamd mrakkad, is a very famous one and filled with healthy probiotics. Finally, back to the good old USA. You can find all of these items in most of your grocery stores, but people in the US managed to come up with a fermented drink derived from the native people in that land, root beer, historically made using the root of sassafras. It is a dark, spicy, almost licorice-like flavored drink. And again, we're not talking about the ones that come in a can. Like ginger ale, watch out for the sugar content in this one too. Our final destination is your local health store. Sure, eating all of these probiotics through food is a great idea. However, using some supplements to boost your health every now and then is not a bad idea as well. You want to always look for a diversity of strains, and the more the strain count, the merrier. Always remember, don't consume anything that will kill the probiotics in your digestive tracts. We always want more of the good guys than the bad guys in our gut. Next time, we'll cover what feeds these probiotics to keep them growing and keep them in control. If you like the content and want to see more, don't forget to subscribe, share, like our channel, and check out our other videos. Thanks for watching!